Hey everybody, it's me, Rhett. So today I'm going to tell you guys a story about my mom and the first time she started playing video games. For those of you who don't really know that much about my own background, I pretty much all through high school lived for playing World of Warcraft, and I actually played probably somewhere close to like 8 to 10 hours every single day, and it was crazy unhealthy, but I was obsessed with the game. And before that, back when I was a kid, I would always wake up early so that I could get onto the computer before I had to start school and before I had to do my chores, but I also had to fake sleep long enough that my dad would go to work before I started playing, because he was always really uptight about me playing games before I started school. My mom was fine with it. She knew that I wanted to go ahead and start out my morning that way, and would let me go ahead and play for like an hour, and then she would go ahead and get me started on my day with everything else that I needed to do. So me and my mom have always had kind of a funny relationship when it came to me and my gaming, and particularly around later part of high school, I started trying to get her more involved and get her to play some games with me and my older sister Ashley. And so we started playing RuneScape first, and RuneScape she totally got into. It was super easy for her to get into, and at that time I wasn't really playing it that much. I was playing World of Warcraft more often, but I think for a little time I started playing a little bit of RuneScape because I couldn't afford my monthly subscription. So I started doing RuneScape just to kind of pass the time, and I played it back in middle school. So anyway, I got her on the game and she started playing, and she was completely obsessed with collecting cowhide. Now, I don't know if you've ever played the game, but basically in the starting zone where you are up near Lumbridge Castle, you take your hero and you can build up your fighting skills, and you can cross the river there. You can go ahead, and there's this whole field where there's cows basically in a fenced off area. And so you go in there and you can kill the cows to level up your fighting, and when you do, they drop cowhide, they drop meat, and they drop bones. So anyway, my mom went over there to level up her skills, and she got really excited because she found out that she could collect the cowhide, take it into the desert, and tan it to make leather armor. And so I had shown her how to do all the different things, and she got really into it and started just collecting cowhide for like weeks, and all she would do is collect that. Now, just to give you some more context before I dive into the stories about her, at that time I was really into leveling up my farming skills on the game, and so I would ask her that, hey, if you ever find seeds that are dropped from the different creatures, go ahead and collect that and give them to me, because I'll use it for my farming skill. And she didn't really need it because she wasn't paying for the RuneScape subscription as a members only skill. So she would give me the seeds, and I would help her with collecting cowhide every so often, so that we could play together. Anyway, so between the seeds that I needed for the farming skills and her collecting cowhide, after playing for maybe a week or two, she got a little too involved in the game. And so pretty much within a week's time frame, her and my dad went out driving, and she saw a piece of cardboard in the middle of an intersection. She's driving with my dad, and she's the one driving, and she sees the cowhide, and she swerves to the middle of the intersection, and she freaks out towards that, and then she, obviously realizing that she's going toward the middle of the intersection, changes course and goes back into the turn that she was making. And my dad is just like, what the heck are you doing? Why on earth did you go into the middle of the intersection? She's like, I'm sorry, I thought that was cowhide. And so yeah, she almost got herself and my dad killed over trying to collect cardboard in the middle of the road because she thought it was cowhide. Fast forward sometime later in that week, my dad and my mom were driving past a store near our house to grab some groceries, and I don't know if you've heard of Wegmans, but we were trying to do a fancier dinner that night, and I think we were getting tri-tip. And so tri-tip is something that we absolutely adore, and we make it sort of as a special treat because we could only find it when we were in California, but the Wegmans grocery store chain carries it as well. And so they were grabbing some tri-tip and some other things for the meal that night. And on their way home, they drove by this store, this like roadside store that sold fresh fruits, vegetables, and seed for your own farming needs. And so they drove by this, and my mom got into a turn lane to make a U-turn, went back to the seed store and pulled in, and my dad's like, why are we here? Now, what you need to know is that at that time, you're living in a townhouse with a backyard that honestly had probably no larger than like our balcony. Our balcony's width and length now in our apartment as the grass area, and the rest of it was just like a solid slab of concrete. So we didn't do any farming back there. We had a tree line that covered the whole backyard, and so nothing really grew in the little space that we did have. And so my dad was really confused. Why on earth is she pulling into this store that sells basically farming supplies? And so my mom looked at him and she's like, Rhett needed seeds. He asked me to go ahead and collect him whatever seeds that I could so that he could work on his farming. And as she says it, she just looks at my dad and has this moment of realization that she's like, oh my goodness, this is 2 times in a week that I have thought about a game outside of the game itself in real life, and I just can't separate reality from, this game. And so he was just like, you have to stop. You cannot play this game anymore. And so they went back home and told me all about it, and were joking about it, and she stopped playing RuneScape. Fast forward a little bit later, and I got her trying to play some World of Warcraft. So our experience with playing World of Warcraft with my mom was more than a little entertaining. My dad was at work a lot, and so it was just me, my older sister, and my mom, and I think my sister and my mom at the time were on the trial basis. So we're at the starting place for the humans in the game, and we're on our trial version, and we start walking around and completing the quests and doing different things like that. Now, to let you know, I had been playing the game for probably a year or two at that point, and so I was really familiar with the starting area, and also obviously being a kid, I was a little impatient, and so I would run off and do my own little thing and come back to see if they had completed what they were doing, and they were slow as all get out. And so they're trying to do what they're doing, and my mom's getting frustrated with me because I keep running off and she doesn't know where she is, and she's getting confused and frustrated with me. And so we go into this cave and keep getting followed by this gnome, and my mom lost it. She's just like, why are you following us? Leave us alone. And starts messaging in the general chat all types of things to this guy, just telling him to back off. And my sister's starting to get a little uncomfortable just because this guy is following us around. He's like, hey, group with me. I want to help you guys, and I want some help working on the things that I'm doing, which is normal. That happens a lot, especially when you have quests, but we obviously didn't need his help because we've got 3 of us and we're just in the starting zone. We don't want to share our experience and our loot. We're just enjoying our time doing our own thing. And he wasn't getting the message and being annoying as anything, but kept following us around, and we just kept ignoring him. Fast forward to us playing a little bit later, and after a long day of me, my mom, and sister playing, probably a Saturday or Sunday where we were just goofing around and having our own time. And so we got to the end of the night, my dad logged on, and we're all hanging out at the tavern in the game. And so my mom is frustrated with the game, not a big fan, but was willing to do it and play with me and my sister for the day. And we start showing her the fun in-game, I don't even know what you would call it, I guess expressions. So basically you could type something in on your keyboard like /train, right? And when you type that in, your character starts going and there's fun things like that and different animations with each of the characters that are totally different. In particular, you can start telling really bad jokes, start giving pickup lines that are just cringeworthy. You can dance.
You can't touch this. Touch this.
And each of the dances are unique to the different races in the game. And so we're showing her these, and she decides that she wants to get up on the bar stool of the tavern and starts dancing. And I think she was a night elf or something, and I had dragged her out to the human starting area because I like it better. And so she starts dancing on the table and being all, seductive. and all of that, and she's still wearing all of her armor and all of that, not being weird or anything, but she gets up on the table and starts dancing. So my dad gets on there, and I think my dad starts doing the train emoticon and starts chewing around my mom, and they're just being total dorks and embarrassing me and my sister. And the gnome that followed us around for hours shows up to the tavern, and he gets up on the bar. Well, he gets up on the bar and takes off all of his armor to where he's in nothing but his in-game boxers that are just preset with a character, and he starts dancing next to my mom. And my mom is like totally grossed out and like creeped out that this guy is doing it. And we're all sitting in the room laughing and just like, this is obnoxious, but happens all the time in game. And my mom's like, well, I'm on the table anyway. And so she just keeps dancing and being ridiculous. And we had a great time just being total goofballs there at the end. Now, obviously, my mom never really got into that game, probably because of her own experiences and not separating reality from the game with RuneScape, and just because the mechanics were a little bit more complicated than what she was comfortable with. And so she used up the subscription for that week, didn't start playing. My sister used up her subscription for the week and started playing with me and my dad. We played for many years after that, until I think my sister went to college. And so that's what happened with my mom playing video games. I don't know whether your parents have ever played video games and whether they're good at it or not, but if you have a fun story that you'd like to share about your mom or your dad playing video games, definitely leave a comment below and tell me about it. And if you enjoyed this story, give this video a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to our channel, as we try to post content every Tuesday and Friday. We are trying to get more into the swing of that, and so we're kind of off by a day or two at the moment, but definitely stay posted, keep watching the videos, and we will see you on Tuesday. Thanks for watching.